Hello, it's the Randy Duck and welcome back for another video. And today we've got two replays to show you in the Tier 10 Mercenary Premium Heavy Tank, the Rogal Dawn, which of course is the Warhammer tank. And yeah, if you want to see the crew and equipment setup I'm choosing to run in this tank, you'll be able to see that at the bottom of the screen as I speak. But for the first replay, what we have for you today is here on Sword Beach, where there is no enemy artillery and two enemy light tanks. So thank goodness there is no artillery, because obviously we are quite a slow heavy tank, and it's now going to allow us to be able to play more of the map. Now the gun I'm running, this tank does have two different options with gun. You can even have the double shot gun, where you can choose to fire the gun sort of singly or fire both shots together. Or you can use the gun which I think is the best gun, which is a 700 Alpha main cannon, and then it comes with a 4-shot autoloader as a secondary weapon. There's the auto cannon with 240 Alpha per shot and 182 penetration on your auto cannons. You can actually pen quite a few tanks with 182 pen. You know, you can get the side of tanks or going through the tracks, and it does allow you to really boost the damage in this tank. And honestly, this tank is kind of disgusting, to be fair. Now, we're looking at the mini-map. The majority of the enemy team are playing on the 1-2 sort of 3-line area. I want to ultimately try and get in the middle of the map so I can try and shoot those tanks where possible. But it can be a little bit awkward when you have tanks in a sort of C7 area, because they could have shots at you. But thankfully, we do have a few tanks pushing up there, which hopefully should stop that if we're lucky. So as we make our advance here, as I say, this is the position we want to get into. It can be a little bit awkward because we are quite a tall tank. Basically, you do have 7 degrees of gun depression, but you know, just the sheer size of you can be awkward playing on these ridge lines. But I'm going to try and see if I can use this rock here to protect myself from my lower plate, and see if I can try and get some shots into this heavy. The tanks on the sort of 1-2 line area don't really have shots for me at the moment, because there's this ridge which I'm trying to use to protect line of sight. If they move up further, then they will, but that's going to be, you know, Sword Beach tends to be, as a map, one which can be quite a slow paced game. And we do get off to a good start, picking up a pen on this enemy jog there and backing them up. But as you can see, we do get a shot coming our way from the right hand side. We don't use our repair kit, we actually just wait for our trap mechanics to work, and then we're able to back up. And now that tank is under a little bit of pressure. So far, you know, not a bad start. I'm going to try and get a shot into this enemy heavy. It's always unlikely to pen that, to be honest. I was hoping he might back up a bit further and expose his lower plate, but it didn't happen. And it looks like kind of an even game, but it doesn't really stay that way, unfortunately for me. Try and get a cheeky one into the side of the jog there, and unfortunately I don't pen. But as you say, it is a map where you have to be patient. You can't overplay it on this map, because you have so many tanks sitting in sort of campy positions that if you make a mistake, you can lose a lot of hit points quite quickly. We do manage to land our second pen though, putting us on to about 1,400 damage, and yeah, whilst hoping if he pushes us, it'd be nice because we can get some shots in. Haven't been able to use my auto cannon yet. There hasn't really been an opportunity. Sometimes I actually use the auto cannon to, if there's a tank which won't peek, I fire my autocannon, my secondary weapon. I waste one of the shells, and sometimes they think you fired your main gun, and you can catch people out. They then poke, and then you slap them with their big gun, which is always quite a nice tactic. At the moment, as you can see, unfortunately, it's not going great for me. We're starting to lose more tanks. E5 is pushing us. We do slap one into him, but we do need to back down now and get into cover. We lost about, you know, almost what, sort of 800-900 hit points there. At least we did pen the E5, which is good. If his E5 pushes us, it'd actually be really good for us, because we can actually bully him as he comes over the ridge. I shot there hoping to bait the enemy E5, but the jog actually goes straight over. Now we swap to autocannon. We track this enemy E5 in place, but at such a position that I can actually go straight through his rifle and pen him, keep him tracked, swap to my autocannon and finish him off. And just like that, we're on 5,000 damage now with 2 kills. And we brought this game back slightly, but we are still tanks down at this point in a 7 versus 9. Hit points are still fairly even though. So unfortunately, it kind of also looks like we're losing a lot of map control. We're kind of losing the 7-9 area. We're also losing the 1-2 line, and it's probably going to be tough to come back from that, but we are just going to stay in the game for as long as we possibly can. There's a one-shot heavy tank in front of me, which I'd like to try and finish off, if possible. But at any moment now, I can probably begin to start to get shots coming my way from the 1-2 line if they push any further up than this. Heavy tank, like I say, I don't want to overextend to get the shot in because I don't want to eat any damage. There isn't really any tank destroyers, like many tank destroyers in this matchmaking, which was nice. Now the enemy medium comes round, he gets slapped by our Type 5, and we finish him off picking up our third shot, bringing us back to a 5 versus 6 here. And now we're just trying to get some shots into these tanks. Now I have pretty much been in this same position the whole game, right? But shots have been available to me. There's been no real reason to move. We're going to try and get one into this Super Conqueror. Should be able to squeeze one in. We try and track him in place with our small gun. Wasn't going to happen. So we swap that small gun now to go and reload so that we will have a full clip when required if an enemy team pushes us. It's got about a 24-second reload on that auto cannon there. But unfortunately for me, it's gone from a situation which was quite close to now we're in a 2 versus 6, not looking ideal. 57 heavy behind us. We have to kill this tank. I really need him to poke. He does poke. He makes a mistake there. Allows us to finish him off. That's actually destroyed the angle. I was wanting to get over this dip and get safe from those tanks on the 1-2, but I'm not going to have enough time to do this. And I've kind of felt at this point, yeah, this game is probably going to be a loss here. I'm just going to dig in and just not give up and just try and get as much out of this game as I possibly can. I do put one into the enemy light tank there, putting us into 7,000 damage with 4 kills. Enemy Super Conqueror is struggling to penetrate us there. We can potentially go through the sort of turret mantlet of the Super Conqueror, as well as we definitely can on this enemy heavy tank. If he exposes mantlet, we can easily pen that on the F3 to our left here. We're going to try and do that. It's exactly what we do. Put a big shot in, putting us on to about 8,000 damage. But now our Type 5 heavy has been destroyed and we are left in a 1 versus 5 situation. And it's not looking great. The second tank gets behind us, it's probably going to be game over because we have to turn our tank. We're going to get shot by so many other tanks. And unfortunately, that is what's happened. A full health heavy tank. He's come round and yeah, this is now game over. But we did well to try and stay in this game for as long as we could. Get 8,500 damage. I should have penned the right there on his cupola. Could have actually picked up another pen. But yeah, it wasn't to be in the end, and we get shut down by the Super Conqueror, bringing us then to replay number 1. But still one more replay to come, so let's move on to the second and final replay of the video. Okay, so here we are for replay number 2, this time on Halfaya Pass. Again, there's no enemy artillery, and it is the encounter variant with 2 enemy light tanks. Now, there is something I want to say about this replay, and that is at the point I had this game is when we had the problems where people were disconnecting from games, or the game was crashing, I should say. And unfortunately, it actually happens in this replay. And although I was able to get back into the game, it happened at such a moment where, honestly, I think it cost me a huge amount of damage, and it could have been a massive game. This is still a big game, but I think I think I probably lost about 2,000 damage at least because of the crash. And you'll see when it happens, and you'll see the moment it happens and what I would have been thinking at that time. Yeah, you'll see when we get there. But for now, we are moving across, and we're going to try and get into that big rock in front of us at the sort of J7 area, because from there we can shoot any tanks at the sort of D6 which poke that side. And we can also shoot any tanks on the sort of low ground if they come round on us. You know, we want to get to a position where we can shoot multiple angles basically, because we are quite a slow heavy. We just want to get into a position as quickly as possible so we're able to brawl and get some damage. So as we're making our advance here, we can see there is a few tanks around this rock here, but we're expecting some tanks to poke on the left, and that is what's happened here. We get off to a great start with our first shot there. But then F3005 gets spotted. I'm thinking I can pen that with my autocannon, and this is where this tank is honestly disgusted, because we penned our first shot and then we penned up all 4 of our autocannon shots, swap back to our main gun, slap him again, and just like that we're on 2,200 damage at the very start of the game. We could not have got off to a better of start there. That poor F3005. We see a light tank on the left. We're keeping an eye on that light tank in case he pokes. But we want to get a big shot into this enemy heavy tank, because his ammo rack is damaged. Unfortunately, we wasn't able to detonate it there, but we do at least get another juicy shot in. And we're just, again, keep an eye on that light tank. We don't want him to come behind us. Thankfully, gets shut down there, and we're already on to about 3,000 damage, or thereabouts. A Waffle V100 gets spotted there, so we slap him again with our big gun, and yes, here we go, auto cannon away, get another shot in. Can we get a third shot in? He put him onto a 1, wasn't quite able to get the finishing touch there, but now we're on to 4,000 damage, and there's still 13 tanks remaining. Swapped to our other gun and finished off that one shot F3005 there. Picking up our first kill for good measure, with 12 tanks still remaining in this game at this point. So we have got off to a fantastic start. We do eat a little bit of damage, and we are poking back because there is that heavy tank which is hold down, who is trying to land shots into us. But we finish off the Waffle there. We do actually use our big gun to do it, and that confirms our second kill of the game. Still in a close game with 11 versus 11. We got some tanks in the cap, but not really. I don't think we're going to cap out, to be honest with you. I am keeping an eye on that enemy IS-7 to behind us on the right. If he comes round, we want to turn to try and get some damage into that tank. But we're going to try and get back into a position where we can hopefully try and get some more damage out of this game. So looking to squeeze one into that enemy heavy tank there, not quite possible. But yeah, he might poke, he might give us a cupola shot. Unfortunately, we don't pen it. But we're going to pull back to a little bit of safety here, because it kind of looks like the enemy IS-7 behind us might actually make a play and over poke round behind. So I want to sort of turn for that. He has done so, allowing me to get a big shot into him. I think he's realised there's quite a few tanks looking at him, so he's now backing up. But I pen him with my small gun because he was side onto me. Unfortunately, I didn't get the drive ball there, otherwise I could have probably tracked him in place. But I'm going to try and use some of my hit points now to essentially sort of bully this poor IS-7. Managed to pick up the kill for our third kill of the game, putting us on to about 6,000 damage. But there's still 8 tanks remaining, so plenty of hit points left in this game. So I'm going to try and make my advance round here. As I do, I get spotted by the Sturv. I manage to slap him then, and I try and pen him again, which I do through the cupola actually. That's what I mean, you can pen stuff with this small gun. I want to go and reload anyway, so I fire my last shell, and we're going to continue this push. We want to try and get rid of this Sturv really, because then I want to get on with the rest of the game. We're on about 7,000, plenty of damage left remaining, 7 tanks in it, so it's still pretty close. And as we make our advance around, the Sturv is looking at us here. I'm trying to let him shoot me, so he hopefully gets spotted. He's running. We manage to connect him, put him onto a one shot. Can we finish him off? No, we bounce the first one. We're going to try and go through the cupola. We do pen him, and it was at this point the game then decides to freeze. And I'm thinking, what the hell? 6 tanks remaining. There's a tank shooting me in the side. Thankfully, I loaded back in the game like a couple of minutes later, and I'm still alive. But now there's only 3 tanks, and I was already having a really good game. There was plenty of damage left. I was already up like 7,500 damage at that point. And I was thinking that surely would have been like easily above 10k. But as it stands, at least I guess I got back into the game. But it's a shame because I would have been able to kill the tank shooting at me. But there is still 3 tanks, and I'm now going to push and see if we can get any more damage left. So I saw 13% hit points. The hit points is actually bang even, so although it's a 5v3, it's still pretty close. I'll probably have most of the hit points for my team here. We do see a pretty much full health IS-7, and then this enemy heavy tank on the top there, which we're able to put a big shot in. Pen him again with the small gun. Can we pen him again? Yes, we can. Putting him onto a one shot, putting us onto just shy of 9,000 damage. Going to try and get the finish here if possible. Unfortunately, we bounced that. And now we're just, it's in a 4 versus 2. I really want to just get across this IS-7. It's got all the hit points, to be honest with you. But I don't want to get farmed in the side, so it's annoying that I left that tank there on the one shot. Otherwise, I've been able to push straight into the IS-7. But I've got another opportunity to try and finish the kill. This time he shows his lower plate. And I bounce him with the big gun, which is kind of frustrating. Yeah, I'm trying to finish him off with a small gun here. Go for the cupola shot. Not quite possible. But our big gun's almost reloaded. So we should, in theory, be able to pick up the kill. And we do. Finishing that game with 9,000. But I'm almost certain if I didn't get that disconnect, then I would have had over 10,000 for sure. There was still like 6 tanks remaining. 1 tank straight in front of me, which I could have killed. So it was quite annoying. But that's it for this game. We're just going to skip ahead to the scoreboard and see how we get on. Okay, so you see, we managed to get 5 kills, 9,000 damage, 4,300 blocked. It was just a shame we got disconnected, which stopped us getting the more damage. But that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, happy tanking.
Enemy in sight! Hadouken!